I'm back with another video.
Fun, 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 fun!
Hey guys, what is up? It's Reese's Tech Pieces here, and I'm back again for another video today. Now, first off, I just want to apologize. I have taken a leap of absence, whichever. So I have been gone, obviously, for a year. If you follow the channel, if you're subscribed, thank you so much for staying subscribed. That's so awesome. And if you aren't yet subscribed, go ahead, push the subscribe button down there. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Do whatever you want. So, yeah, I have been gone off YouTube for about a year or so, and I've been just too busy with school and everything like that, and just haven't found a ton of time to do it. But I'm not going to really say too many excuses, because that's enough. I don't need any more. You should just, yeah, accept those. So, today I have a bit of a different video. So we're going to be going over the Oculus Rift, as well as the touch controllers, the kind of setup I have, and just, yeah, a little review, things like that. This is going to be kind of an informal video, so I hope you guys like it. And again, I'm sorry I haven't been posting in a long time, but that's why I made this video. So let's get right into it. Alrighty guys, so here is my setup. So as you can see, I have a dual monitor setup, and I have some nice backgrounds that you'll see as I go that are able to span all the way across. So those are ultra wide kind of images that I found. So what I'm going to be talking about today is my Oculus, kind of my setup, what I use to run the Oculus, and just kind of how it performs, any recommendations I have. I know there are a lot of Oculus reviews out there, so this is going to be kind of a compilation of just things I recommend, things that I've had trouble with, anything like that. So, I have the Oculus right here, as you can see. So I've had this thing for about a half a year or so, and I love it. It is so fun. There are new games coming out on the Oculus Store. I have used Steam and Steam VR a little bit, but Oculus, the Windows application I found, has had a lot of new games. They're constantly coming out with new fun games. So I generally use that. I've had some troubles with Steam VR not working, but of course it has. Ultimately, I've been able to fix those problems and everything like that for the most part. So, so aside from the Oculus, the other piece of hardware I have, one of the other pieces of hardware I have, is these two controllers right here. So these are the Oculus Touch controllers. So if you've ever used VR, an Oculus, or Gear VR, or anything like that, you'll kind of get a feeling as to like what it looks like, how it feels, and stuff like that when you're in a game. But there's really such a difference when you start using the controllers as to when you just use the headset alone. Using the controllers is just like a completely different experience. So if you're thinking about getting a Oculus and you're not sure as to whether these are worth it, these touch controllers, I would definitely recommend it. The Oculus is just totally different without them. You can't play as many games. You can't, like, the games you can play aren't just, they're not as fun. You can't interact with them as well. Yeah, you can use the Xbox controller, but really it just doesn't compare at all when you're using these. They feel really ergonomic. They work just super well. So, that is the second kind of pair of hardware. And the third is the Oculus sensors. So I am running 3 sensors right now, and be aware, if you are thinking of getting an Oculus, you will need some USB 3.0 ports, so if your computer doesn't have that, you might want to get an expansion card or something like that. But I have one sensor right over here, another right there, and then back there behind the camera, up in the wall I have, and you can see that cord right there is going it's stringed along, and it's hooked up to the sensor back there. So I have a 3 sensor setup, which is really nice. I would 100% recommend. Once you have your Oculus for a little bit, depending on the games you're playing, you're probably going to want to get a 3rd sensor. It's great just because the 2 sensors, they're facing forward, but if they don't have direct line of sight to the controllers or the headset, generally the headset has sensors on the back as well as the front, so if you're turned around it won't have any troubles. But the controllers, if you put them behind your back and the sensors can't see them, then you're going to lose tracking, and that can be really frustrating in certain games. So I would definitely recommend the third sensor, especially if you've had an Oculus for a little while. The sensing, like the sensors, can be a little off sometimes. I would definitely think about getting a third sensor. So now I'm going to talk really quickly about my setup and what I'm using to run the Oculus. So I currently am using the minimum requirement for the graphics card, and the graphics card is really the most important part, arguably the most important part when you're running an Oculus. So I have a GTX 970 in my system, and a lot of people are going to be like, oh, why don't you have like a 1080 Ti or something like that, but those are really expensive, and my system had the 970 in it. I didn't want to spend $600-700 to upgrade to a really, really nice graphics card, which I hopefully will be able to do in the future once prices come down, because as we know, Bitcoin mining and all that is sort of driving up the graphics card prices a little bit. But from my experience, the 970, even though it's the minimum requirement for the Oculus, it has run perfectly. I've had no huge issues with it at all. I did have, for a little while, I had kind of a weird setup where I wouldn't be able to use my second monitor if I had been using the Oculus, but I changed the monitors. I started using a HDMI to DisplayPort, so that way I can use both monitors at once while having the Oculus still plugged in, so I won't have to kind of switch cords out in order to use both sensors and everything like that once I'm done using the Oculus. So I would definitely recommend getting a better graphics card, because of course you're going to get higher frame rates and stuff like that, and it's just going to feel more real and everything like that. But if you have a 970 in your system and you're not sure whether you should upgrade your graphics card first or get the Oculus, I would definitely recommend getting the Oculus first. It's just so fun. The 970 has really not a lot of troubles in my experience running it, and my system is not at all like the best system, obviously. But yeah, it doesn't have too many big issues or anything like that I've run into. So yeah, now I'm going to just go into some of the games that I like to play and just kind of my experience. So yeah. Alrighty guys, so here is the Oculus store. So there are obviously a lot of different games on here, and just a ton of different things. One thing I really appreciate, well, I don't know, it's not my favorite thing about Oculus, but I'm glad. Alrighty guys, so I'm sorry that was a bit of a long video. I hope that you guys found that a little bit interesting. And again, I'm so sorry I haven't been posting recently. And that might have been a bit of a boring video, but if you're still with me, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Leave a comment saying I'm still here. That'd be awesome. Yeah, if you guys have any recommendations for videos, or if you want to see me do just a system tour as to what I'm running in my system, just leave a comment below. Yeah, just like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.